I'm here to act as a mentor for the Foundation for Environmental Education, and the mentor's role is to work with the organisation that runs the programmes of the Foundation here in Mauritius. So we have Reef Conservation, and I've met with the staff of the organisation, and I'm here to first of all provide all the support I can as they start to run new programmes in the country, like eco schools and young reporters for the environment. And also, I suppose, to take back a view to the board, to the international organisation, of how things are progressing, and that the programme's in a safe pair of hands, which I can say it very much is. And that then gets taken forward to the General Assembly of the Foundation, and eventually, after 3 to 5 years, an organisation will become a full member of the Foundation, and it no longer then needs a mentor. And as you rightly say, I've visited 3 schools in Mauritius, 3 different schools, and they have shown me that the programme's being very effectively implemented. The knowledge of the students I've talked to, thankfully they speak English because I only have one language, the passion and knowledge of the teaching staff in all the schools has been tremendous, and then some of the projects have been very interesting to look at. So
what kind of projects have you looked at? A brief example.
Examples would include the reduction of use of plastic bottles. So of course the collection for giving to another NGO for recycling of plastic bottles that are used, but of course the most important first step is reducing. So they use reusable bottles and cups, providing drinking fountains. So actually they've vastly reduced even how much plastic is being used, which of course is a cost saving for the student not buying, and there's also the saving in how do you deal with the waste, which of course is an issue, particularly when you live on an island. My assessment so far has been hugely positive. I think I could have been in schools in Northern Ireland where I've been running the programme for 20 odd years. You close your eyes, of course the accent's different, but the knowledge, the passion, the awareness, the projects are all at a very high standard. I'm from Northern Ireland. We issued the first green flag in the world in Northern Ireland. We have schools now with 10 green flags. But it's something that they aspire to, and it shows that they're working to a standard that you could go into a school in any one of the other 67 countries, working with nearly 20 million students worldwide, and that standard would be the same. And what I've seen from schools here, they are very much, the ones with the green flag, they've very much earned that green flag. If you go to some countries now, green flag for eco schools has moved into green flag for universities, where students have gone through school and said, well, where's the green flag in our next place? It's even moved into hospitals now where they're training young doctors and nurses. I've been to a hospital in Ireland where the green flag is flying. And this is my hope for Mauritius, that actually those young people, it's called eco schools, but it isn't limited to schools. It becomes a way of life of the young people, and they take that through into their jobs and the rest of their families and their lives. But if you had come with me to some of those schools, you would have seen the transformation of individuals' lives and of the schools themselves. So I spoke to one principal who arrived and the school was bare. She introduced eco schools, which got all the students involved, all the teachers involved, and now you can't look for the school with seeing trees and flowers and fish and all the animals and wildlife associated with that. So it has really transformed the feeling in the school, the passion and the togetherness that the students and the teachers now have, all through the tool of eco schools. Even if you feel your contribution is very small, actually there's another 19,999,000 people working on this, all doing those small things, which are all starting to add up. For Reef Conservation to become a full member of FEE, it must run at least 2 programmes. So at the moment it's running eco schools, and a natural progression of that for working with young people would be the Young Reporters for the Environment programme. So we're very keen to see that come into existence here in Mauritius, and give young people a voice and let them be heard, and to have their opinions put forward to businesses, to government, to try and change the way that things happen here. And We've touched already on waste being one of those issues where perhaps things have to change.
Waste is one of the compulsory themes of the program. Yours, the CEO, of Keep Northern Ireland Beautiful, which has been at the forefront to initiate change in Irish people's mindset. In Mauritius, we have the same problem here. People have the tendency to just drop litters everywhere.
Yes.
What can we learn from your campaigns here?
Well, Eco Schools has, as you say, waste as a compulsory component, and litter is another associated component. And we look at how we can change behaviour in young people. And we have some specific programs working with young people to change behaviour. And we measure that. So we know what it was like at the start and we know what it's like at the end. And we've seen some very positive changes in behaviour once you work alongside young people and explain the impacts. And when people see the impacts on wildlife, on nature, then they start to understand why they have to change. And an example where a young primary school student had seen on television a turtle with a straw stuck up its nose, and the teacher noticed this pupil just drinking out the bottle, not with a straw, and she said, "What's the problem?" And the student said, "Well, I saw this." And the teacher said, "Well, how are we going to sort it?" And he said, "Well, it'd be good if we didn't use straws." So that school banned straws. Now they use about, I forget, 500 a week, and they've stopped using them. Now, if every school in Northern Ireland stops, that's 20 million straws a year, fewer, that even have the chance of going into the ocean. So schools can be a catalyst where they can start to perhaps ban items or change the way they're used or collected. Because this program isn't just for schools, it goes home. And then students start saying to their parents and their grandparents, "But you shouldn't be doing that. We have to stop using these." And that message spreads out. And as they grow up, it spreads into business operations, it spreads into government operations, and that's the way it is starting to change. And I've said already, it's spread into universities, it's spread into hospitals, it is starting to spread out. Eco Campus for third level education is now in 17 of the 67 countries that operate eco schools. As the programme exists longer in the country, its tentacles spread out into other areas of life, because it is about a way of sustainable living and not just a programme for schools. It's impossible now to miss the importance of environment when you think about the issues of climate change, of global sea level rises, and even the plastics in the ocean, and the biodiversity loss, which is faster now than ever in historic records. So as an island, you can only be too aware that if sea levels rise, this has huge impacts on the population. So programs like eco schools become even more critical. Of course, the right thing to do, but these are even more critical. And of course, you could feel that Mauritius doing this on its own isn't going to make a difference. But eco schools being in 67 countries with so many students involved, millions involved, actually starts to make that difference. And as young people percolate through society, they make a difference to society. We have to tackle these issues now, and as adults we also have to engage now. We can't wait for the next generation and put the responsibility all on their shoulders, but they're going to have to be the educators and the leaders of tomorrow that really start to turn this around if we're going to stop some of those really big environmental issues affecting us all very locally. Well, the way forward really for me will be how quickly can the programme develop into every school and move on into universities. And of course, the world over, one of the big issues is funding. And thankfully a lot of the businesses here, some of the businesses here are investing in eco schools so it can go forward. The Ministry of Education is supportive and giving access to the schools. So it's grown very quickly already. But it will need more funds if it's going to reach into every school and touch every life.